fellow grave walkers, and welcome back to another video. And in this one, we're going to be looking at all of the orc physical appearance options that I could find for both orcs and ologs. So that includes facial hair, normal hair, eye color, body type, skin color, and more. So let's jump straight into it. The first thing we're going to start with is body type, and I've outlined 7 different body types that I can find. Now the first one is tall and muscular, which is your average big boy orc. And an example of this is Bagaboog the Stormbringer. Then we have tall and fat. These guys are big and beefy, but they're not really muscular. And I have Skoth the Betrayed as my example for the tall fat. Then we have tall and thin. These guys are very tall compared to other orcs, but they're not really muscular or fat. And I have Gash to exemplify that. You can see they are still pretty muscular, but it is different to Bagaboog or even Lamloog. Then we have tall and big, which is not super muscular, but not super thin and not super chunky. And I have good old Grisha here to show that off. Then we move into short, and I have a Crimp here to show off short and thin. These guys are very small, they don't have a lot of muscle, and they're not really that big. Then I have short and muscle with Ishmaz here, and as you can see, although he is short, he's got a lot of muscle mass. And then we have what I'm calling average muscle, which is average height, and they have a good bit of muzzle, and we have Amug here to show that off. Those are the main 7 body types that I could identify. If there's any more, let me know, but I think I got most of them. Then we have orc skin colors, and there's actually less here than I thought there was, and my naming convention might not be perfect for all of them, but we're going to go down the list. So first up, we have Pale Cursed. This is the very sickly pale with the cursed veins going through them, which Skoon here very, very accurately shows. Then we have just Pale, which is, they're a bit more white. They're not super ill-looking like the Pale Cursed, though. Then we have Gray, which is what I am calling the this color here. This is Gray. At least that's what I'm calling it. Then we have Black, which is like good old Bagaboog again. And then we have Tan. Tan is a very common one for orcs. Then there is Tan Green, which is a greenish color. Then I have Dark Green, because again, they're orcs. They have a lot of green colors. And finally, Pale Green, which is a slightly more light-colored green. And that is all of the orc skin colors. Alright, now we're to what's going to be the longest section, which is the hairstyles. So do bear with me as we go down this pretty long list. So first up, we have the ponytail, which Grisha has. Then we have the bald wings, which Doogs has. We have the thick mohawk, which is different to the other mohawks because it's thicker, and Gash has that. We have balding with Proc. As you can see, he's kind of losing his hair and it's kind of weirdly looking there. We have the 3 thin mohawks on Tuka the Accursed. Zothra is, of course, just bald, which most orcs are actually bald. Og has a really interesting widow's peak going on. Krook here is balding with a long back. Zune is balding with a long all the way around the side and back of his head. Then we have Spiky with Garo here. As you can see, he's got all these long spikes. There is the long with lump over the ear with Roog here. As you can see, he's got that little bit coming over the ear. And then we have the inverse of that, which is long with lump behind the ear on Zun here. Then we have the fat trio of mohawks, which is the 3 mohawks from before, but with the fat mohawk design that we saw back on Gash. Then we have the rear spiky mohawk, as I called it, on Flak here. As you can see, it's only around the back side of his head, and they are more spiky. Then there is, and I quote from Tear of Grace, a pissing comb over on Amug here, which I'm sure I can make a lot of jokes about that, but you know. Then we have the long back with these two little side braids on Mozu. Balding with the two wings here on Roog Runny Bowels, which is just incredibly funny to me. We have comb over with wings on Hoshgrish. A full spiky mohawk on Bald. A back spike rose on Krosh. And lastly, specific to Tor's Tinder, we have the long side cut. And that is all of the orc haircuts. And I might have missed some, because like I said, I'm going off the 500 or so orcs I have across every region and in my garrison. So if I missed any, I physically don't have them. So let's hope I got them all. Wait a minute, I gotta pop in here while editing, because I actually did miss one. Then I somehow read over it, and that's Dreadlocks with a pony, and that's on Lorm here. I don't know how I missed that when I was looking at the Google Doc, but I skipped over Dread with the ponytail, so yeah, there's that one. Almost missed it. Now we're going to talk about eye color, which is one of the hardest things to see because so many orcs are wearing helmets. First up, we have probably the easiest and most distinguishable, which is the Sauron Red, which my good friend Scoon here has, and I'm just going to keep it real. I absolutely love the look of Scoon. I randomly found him, and he's just glorious. Then we have green with Bagaboog here. As you can see, it's definitely green. Then Lamlug has orange. This is different to the Sauron Red. The Sauron Red glows a lot more than the orange. The orange is just a slight bit more dark, I want to say. Posh has what looks like yellow. And, yeah, Mr. Crazy, I think, has yellow. Then we have bright green for zombies, which, of course, zombies have bright green. We all know that one. That one's the easiest one to quantify. Then we have what looks to be a pale blue on Booth the Warbringer. And lastly, we have the very unique bright eyes, which you'll see on both Ologs and Orcs, but we'll talk about Ologs in a minute, where their eyes are kind of white and they're always glowing. And that's all the eye colors that I could find. Again, I might have missed some because their eyes are sometimes really hard to see behind their mask or their helmet or whatever. So yeah, there's eye colors. Now let's talk about facial hair, because not all orcs are incapable of growing a beard. First up, we have the gruff and not well-kept beard on Grisha. This is apparently a very common one. I have a lot of orcs that have it. Then we have the sideburns, looking like they're straight out of the Fire Nation, and Doogs here has a nice set of those going on. Then we have the well-kept beard on Rotok Blood, which is a really, really funny thing to me, by the way. He's just covered in blood and murder and gore, but his beard is nice and well-kept. And lastly, we have the goatee on the Lucky Shot. And to finish off orcs, there is hair color, and they come in all of your normal main colors of white, gray, black, and brown, with not a lot of variation. Unfortunately, you're not going to have orcs with any wacky, weird hair colors. They're all very stock. But that ends the orc segment of this video. Now we're going to talk about Ologs. Now, this is the part where I would usually talk about the body type, like I did for orcs, but if I read my notes here, we have it says, all the same, lel. So yeah, there is no difference between Olog body types. All Ologs are built the same way, and that same way is like a truck. But we can talk about their skin colors, which are a little bit more varied than orcs, I do believe. We have black, tan, brown, pale green, green, white, pale cursed, light tan, and dark gray. And I'm assuming I've put all of those different colors on screen to show you. Let's talk about eye color now. Ologs have a multitude of eye colors, and they're sometimes a little bit hard to see because their eyes are so often very squinty. But these were the ones I could find. Obviously, Sauron Red. Then we have Orange, which, just like on Orcs, is a lot less bright. They don't glow as much. Then I found a bluish green, a full green, yellow, and lastly, the Bright Eyes / Cave Rat. but I absolutely know for certain that the Cave Rat Olog can have the, like, white shiny eyes. So those are Olog eye colors. Now let's talk about Olog hair. There is only a couple of Olog hairstyles that I could find compared to Orcs, and those are the, once again, ponytail, the Beast hair, which is what you'll find on the Beast Olog or the Hairy Olog. There is the Stitches Mohawk, which you will find on the Stitch Olog. There is the Tiny Mohawk, which you'll find on any Olog. The Small Spike Rose, just like on Orcs. And lastly, the Dreadlocks with the ponytail. And those are the Olog hairstyles. And to finish it up, we have the Olog beard styles, and I could only find 3. The goatee, the gruff beard, and the sideburns. And I like the sideburns, those are very cool on Ologs. And that just about does it for Olog customization. And lastly, before the end of this video, I'm coming in to talk about the Orc on screen right now. Thrak of the Flies that I found in an online siege. As you can see, I'm just spinning my camera around him in the clip like, what are you? What's wrong with you? As you can see, he's got eye textures on his face, and he's all whacked out. I'm wondering if this is just someone, specifically the person I'm rating or whoever, was messing around with the appearance modifier, like the cheat engine. It's either that or so many customization options stacked on top of each other that they just completely broke. I don't know, but he's really weird looking, and I just figured I would pop in and talk about him, because he's really kind of weird. I don't think I dominated him, but yeah, kind of wish I did, because he was a weird one. But that does bring us to the end of this video. So, if you play Fortnite and you are grabbing anything from the item shop, you can consider using code WreckingBallBlue to support me. Season's ending soon, so, you know, if you're last minute grabbing your battle pass, you can go ahead and use that code. But with that, we've come to the end of this video, so if you have enjoyed, consider hitting the like button down below because it tells me that you like the video. And if you like what I do, consider subscribing for more. And if you'd like to know whenever I upload, whether it's Shadow of War or in the future, possibly other Middle-earth games, depending on my plans, you can ring the little bell to get notified whenever I do so. With that, I will see you all next time.